Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. Today is Wednesday, December 11th. So, what are we going to dive into today? I keep getting that question of when is the best time to start and get into the business? And I'll see if I can't clear that up best that I can. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it, and this is the weekday, Monday through Friday, where we cover umpteen different topics from personal development all the way up through. And yes, I'll start doing a few of those as well because I've taken a little over a month off. I got to get back into the swing of things. But today's topic centers around when is the best time to start? And I can't emphasize this enough. The best time is right now. See, what you end up with people, you have the self-starters and then you have the procrastinators. The self-starters realize that they need to start sometime, right? And they're not sitting there waiting for what I would call the best time to get in, right? They're looking at, I need to get in. And I'll tell you, the ones that are willing to take that next step and dive in, will be more apt to be successful than the procrastinators that keep putting it off, waiting for that perfect opportunity to present itself to jump in. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go out and spend $100,000 on, a small engine repair business. Not even close. There's so much things you can do right now that don't cost you squat. And that is nights and weekends. A lot of times, you don't need to have a tax ID. You don't have to have a business name. You're basically doing it for friends and neighbors and charging a nominal fee to fix their crap. But that's giving you time, experience, and wisdom, right? You're learning on somebody else's units and you're not doing it where you're relying on it for a livable income, right? It's kind of giving you the extras. I would never encourage someone to go in debt on a new endeavor. I know there's a lot of these ones that are online that tell you, jump right in, dump 50, 60 grand and come out a millionaire. It's all bullshit. The real fact of business is you build from the wealth that you bring in. That's how you build the business. You put everything back into that business. Whether it be inventory, upgrades to equipment, to upgrades to the building itself if you own the building. But if you start now, and even if you start as a do-it-yourselfer, start today by working on your own stuff, figuring out how it works. We're here to help you. If I know that you're having a problem with a certain, repair, I will try to mimic it here in the shop in the video for you and show you how we do it and make it as simple as possible so that anybody can understand. Look, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to be in small engine repair. I've seen some really smart individuals that didn't get past the 8th grade and have a very successful small engine repair business or have sold out and retired. So it doesn't take brains. It does take common sense. It does take that you have the ability and willingness to learn it's giving you time, and if you screw it up, at least you know how not to screw it up the next time. Because if you watch some of my repair videos, I tell you to start the first part you take off, put it the farthest away and work your way towards it. So when you put it back together, you know exactly how it comes apart. I've seen guys that never worked on something just start taking screws, bolts, anything else, and just throwing it into a pile. I'm thinking, they'll never get that back together. And they don't. Because they always have extra parts left over, and the thing ain't running right because they put it together wrong. So the big thing is today is the day you start. Even if it's just a do-it-yourselfer at home, work on your own equipment. And that can be oil changes to belt replacements to, valve cover gaskets because it's leaking on the muffler and smoking. There's so many things that you can do that don't require a lot of experience. A simple oil change, if you offer to your customers, a push mower, super easy. Just drain the oil, add some fresh oil, use synthetic brand. That's what we do across the board. We don't buy any of the regular oil anymore. We just buy the 10W30 or 10W40 synthetic. And that's what we're running in all of our customers' machines now. We do have a different blend for the diesels, which is just a lot heavier duty, and I think there's other stuff that's added in there to keep everything clean, because diesel is a dirty, yucky mess, right? So if you start today and you start doing it as you do it yourselfer, you're getting the time, experience, and wisdom, right? And each new unit that you work on and end up fixing is another feather in your cap, right? And I don't care if you're a young mechanic or an old mechanic. The old mechanic is going to be the better mechanic because of what they've learned all those years of working on different stuff. And a lot of times, Claude goes by ear, and how that sounds. He can listen to it, and he'll tell you if that second cylinder isn't firing just the way it should be, that it's on, off, on, off. And you could see it in the spark tester, but he could hear it from a distance. But it's like me, I don't consider myself a super mechanic. I got my own wrenches. I turn wrenches. I always tell you in the videos that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I've been doing it for a number of years, and it's by watching and doing with Claude that's given me the time and experience, and it's given me the wisdom what to look for and how to go about it. But the other thing that I don't want to leave out either is you guys have been a big part in making my shop a better shop, a cleaner shop, having my own workspace, and giving me pointers like with the ultrasonic cleaners to when you tear carburetors apart to their PRI-G. I would have never known about any of that had it not been for like you, Jason, Amos. You're pretty vocal. But anyone and everyone in the comments that have, encouraged us to become better. And I can remember Travis saying, and this is, I love you to death, Travis, that you've seen worse repairs, or you've never seen such a dirty, worse repair shop than ours. And I didn't take it personal. I don't take anything personal. Somebody does a personal attack on me, I guess. But Travis wasn't. He was just saying, come on, man. Clean up this shit. Make it presentable. You got to have a clean area for when your customers come in. You have to look professional, somewhat professional, and not crazy as a loon, right? Because that instills trust between you and your customer. And I'm still old school. I'm still a handshake, and that's an agreement between you and I. And my tendency, whenever we have a new customer, is to find out as much as I can about them. And that comes from just simply talking to them. Because where I want to be is I want that customer to be a friend. And know that I'm in there in their corner when it comes to their machine. And that I won't do anything that I wouldn't do with my own machine. And that instills trust. That's probably the biggest thing that anybody really needs to work on if you're not good at it. And you can't fake it till you make it, all right? You have to be genuinely, interested in that person. I don't know how else to explain it. You guys that do customer service and you're honestly being just yourself and genuinely interested in the other person, I think it shows and it shines and the other person picks up on it. If you're a salesperson, like my brother, he could sell a freezer to an Eskimo in the middle of the winter. And they have no connection. They're just looking for a sale. And a lot of times that backfires in your face. Because if you're only looking at the end result of money, then you're missing a lot of stuff before it gets to that point. I always tell you that no matter what you do in life, it's the journey. It's not when you get to the end point of where you want it to be. It's the journey to that point. Because if you didn't enjoy the journey to that point, you would feel let down when you got to that point. Because you wouldn't feel that there's anything there. You've accomplished step one, but now what? Whereas if you followed, of starting with your own stuff, working on that, and then your neighbors, and then advertising a little bit on Facebook groups that you're into doing it, and it's that journey of learning, of getting all those things practiced, because you're dealing with customers, even if they're your friends and neighbors and all that, they're still customers. And you are genuinely interested in that person because they're either friends or they're, people in the local area. And I think that's probably the biggest point that we have. We're not looking for the almighty dollar. I'm not looking to become rich. I would rather have just a modest where I can have what I want, to a certain extent. But the biggest thing is I know who my friends are. If you ain't got no money and there's nobody around, guess what? But the ones that are left standing around, those are your friends. The ones through thick and thin. The ones you knew before you became famous, and the ones that are still there but a little less vocal when you do become famous. So the last part to all of this is, what does it take for tools to get started? And I've got a couple of videos out on just that. And I would recommend Harbor Freight. Get yourself a 1/4 inch SAE and metric T27 handle. Take apart your weed eaters and stuff like that with a torque head. Screwdriver set. And that should get you started. And then as you go and you're making money, pay off what you have bought and then start buying more. That's how most mechanics get the tools that they have in their cabinet. It's done over time. It's not everything at once. Because there's a lot of tools that you aren't going to use a lot. So get the tools that you use a lot and that you need. And then as you get paid for these jobs, or you can even do it yourself, or you can figure out what you save by doing it yourself versus sending it to the small engine repair mechanic and buy your tools with that. Hopefully this makes good sense, to you guys out there. That if you want to get into business or get into small engine repair or anything else in life that you want to accomplish, you have to start now. Quit putting it off. Because in the end, you're going to look back and have regrets of how I wished I would have done this or this. Time gets experience, gets wisdom. So on that note, you guys, you have a great Wednesday. We'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Put your thoughts in the comments. That you guys that have got your own shops or are doing nights and weekends. What was the push to get started? Or did you just decide today's the day? And for you guys that are on the channel that are watching, that are saying, I'm waiting for that opportune time. You're that procrastinator. You need to stop procrastinating and jump in today. Today is the day to get started. So on that note, we'll catch you tomorrow.